This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
The digital world is a world that runs parallel to our own. It is home to the creatures called digital monsters or Digimon. This world was created as a result of the activation of the very first computer, and it has only grown and developed as our world's technology evolved through the years. As the name suggests, the digital world is made up of data that mimics the geographical and topographical nature of our own world. Digimon are sentient creatures made up of data, like all inhabitants of the digital world. They can be partnered with a human child to grow with them. Some of these children are called to be the saviors of the digital world. They are called the chosen children or the Digidestined. As we know, the Phantom Thieves of Hearts are people who have been wronged by society, so they rebelled against it to regain their own justice. In this crossover, we are going to match a Digimon and an evolutionary line to each Phantom Thief. Greetings everyone, this is Under the Sun and I'm your host Rico. And you're watching Crossover. So in this crossover, we are going to give each of the teenaged Phantom Thieves a Digimon partner. So meaning, Phantom Thieves such as Mona, Wolf, and Sophie won't be given a Digimon partner. I'm only focusing on the teenagers. That is not to say that the three of them are incapable of having one. I'm merely focusing on the human and teenaged Phantom Thieves. The Digimon partners in Adventure and Adventure 02 are soul fragments of their human partners. That is according to the series director Hiroyuki Kakudo. They are essentially the human characters' other selves. In persona terms, the Digimon partners are the shadow selves of their human partners. Link on the translated article down in the description below. So in line with this, the Digimon partners for each of the Phantom Thieves would represent their personas, their characteristics, and their abilities. First off, let's start with Anne Takamaki. The closest Digimon I could find to represent her persona and herself as a whole is Rosemon. But we'll get to the ultimate level Digimon later. Anne has a Nyaromon as a partner, which evolves to Plotmon, and then to Witchmon. Witchmon represents Hecate, Anne's second-tier persona. Witchmon evolves to Sylphimon, referencing Anne taking control of her own person and image over being controlled by rumors and her oppressors. Sylphimon evolves to Rosemon, representing Anne's first and third-tier personas. She is a rose with lots of thorns. That and Carmen literally has roses on her dress. Up next is Yusuke Kitagawa. For Yusuke, he has a Pokemon that evolves into Renamon that turns into Mushamon. Renamon and Pokemon are fox-like Digimon representing Yusuke's codename. Mushamon represents Yusuke's personas Goemon, Susanoo, and Gorokichi. One is an ancient warrior, while the other is a warrior god. Mushamon then evolves into Blizzarmon, representing Yusuke's affinity towards ice. Blizzarmon then evolves into Mitamamon, a fox-like Digimon that can control ice among other elements. Makoto Nijima is next on the list, and almost instantly, I can see her riding her Digimon, Macmon, a motorcycle Digimon, just as she had with her personas Johanna and Agnes. But first, let's figure out Macmon's previous forms. Makoto has a Wanyamon as a partner. That evolves to Gaomon. Gaomon represents her aptitude towards Aikido. Gaomon then evolves to Macmon, who then evolves to Grappleomon, representing the Transformer-esque appearance of a knot. Grappleomon evolves to Bancholeomon, representing Makoto's rebellion from a goody-two-shoes bootlicker. Then we have Futaba Sakura. Given her role as the mission navigator for the Phantom Thieves, her Digimon partner is definitely a Monitamon. But first, she would have a Caprimon before it becomes a Monitamon. Monitamon evolves to Mikanarimon, representing the fact that Futaba can be inside her persona. Mechanorimon evolves to Nanomon, representing the way Futaba can analyze the enemies. Nanomon evolves to Pheromon, representing Shadow Futaba in her palace. Next is Haru Ukumura. Her theme has always been plants, guns, and piercing attacks. That's why her partner is Tanemon, that evolves to Mushmon, that evolves to Togimon. That evolves to Lilamon. Togimon and Lilamon represents the gun skills Haru acquires when leveling up. Lilamon doubles as a representation of Haru's amicable nature. Lilamon then evolves to Refleximon, who represents the appearance of all three of her personas. Then we have Goro Akechi. He has a Cupimon as a partner that evolves to child-level Lucimon to represent his duality. Lucimon then evolves to Pidmon, an inferior species of Angemon, to represent his inferiority complex. Pidmon evolves to Yatagaramon, representing Akechi's codename Crow as a Phantom Thief. Then they evolve to Ravemon. The evolution of his Digimon from angelic to crow-like represents Akechi and his default mask of being this goody two-shoes, but hide deep resentment for the world. Then we have Kasumi Re Yoshizawa. Let's call her Sumi. The one Digimon that definitely fits Sumi is Valkyrimon, because they represent Sumi's second-tier persona, Vanadis, also known as Freya, the Norse goddess of love and war. Long story short, some sources claim that Freya was a Valkyrie herself. First, Sumi has a Chokomon that evolves to Lopmon that evolves to Wendymon. Wendymon represents Cinderella in a way, the time when she lost her mother and then her father, and was then governed by her stepmother and stepsisters. It also represents Sumi's life when she met with Dr. Maruki. Wendymon then evolves to Andiramon, representing Sumi's evolution from that self under Dr. Maruki's guidance to being her own person. They also represent Cinderella when she found herself a prince. Then Andiramon evolves to Valkyrimon, representing Sumi's second-tier persona, Vanadis, also known as Freya, as explained before. Then we have the Charge Commander himself, Ryuji Sakamoto. There are two Digimon that come to mind whenever Ryuji is mentioned. It's Hookmon and Gokumon. But we'll get to them later. Ryuji has a Pinamon as a partner that evolves into Elecmon. Elecmon represents Ryuji's electrical attacks. Elecmon then evolves to Hookmon to represent Captain Kid, Ryuji's first-tier persona. Hookmon evolves to Warusidramon, a play on Ryuji's name meaning dragon. Warusidramon then evolves into a stronger version of Gokumon. They represent Ryuji's second-tier persona, Satan Taisei, also known as Son Wukong or Son Goku. Normally, the Gokumon species aren't very strong, but there are others who have attained the ultimate power level while retaining the same form. I can think of Waymon for this as an example. Last but certainly not the least, our protagonist, Ren Amamiya, Akira Kurusu, or whatever you named him. The two Digimon that come to mind when talking about Ren are Voltobaramon and Bagramon, but we'll get to them later. Ren has a Caprimon as a partner that evolves into Impmon to represent Ren's rebellious calling. Impmon evolves into Blacktailmon to represent Ren being a cat person. Blacktailmon evolves into a weaker version of Voltobaramon to represent Ren's first and third tier personas, Arsene and Raoul. Voltobaramon even resembles Arsene and Raoul a bit. I say a weaker version as most Voltobaramon are ultimates, but that's with madness in their systems. Being with the humans strips the Digimon of that madness, making them a weaker version from the rest of the species. Voltobaramon then evolves into Bagramon, who represents Satanael down to the lore. There was once a Bagramon who opposed the Digimon god, Yggdrasil, that they vowed to take over the world. Yggdrasil being a parallel to Yaldabaoth. So that's all of the Digimon partners and their evolutionary line for each of the teenage Phantom Thieves. Does everyone agree? Sound it down below. And as always, belated happy Odaiba Memorial Day and thanks for watching and ciao ciao!